Well, today I'm replacing my chain and the two sprockets on a 2007 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R. And this is the bike I'm working on. And first you gotta remove your, this is your dust chain cover. And there's two long bolts on top and two in the bottom. And you gotta remove the little speed sensor bolt. And right here, and it exposes your your engine sprocket. Now you gotta remove this nut right here. Alright, I use a 27mm socket with the air ratchet. Well, the air gun. And I was able to remove the nut. So here's the nut, and here's the washer. Make sure you check your bend, if it's bent or not, so you can unbend it before you remove it. But I was able to remove it with the air gun. Alright, and I'm about to slide out the old sprocket. It just slides out. Boom, got the old sprocket out. And to unbend it, I put this on a rotor, and I was able to straighten it out. Alright, I was able to remove, this is not my stock sprocket, but it's already a different brand. I already replaced mine a while ago, and I'm replacing it again. And here it is, and I'm replacing it with a better brand now. I'm replacing it with this one. Okay, I was able to put my new engine sprocket on with my old chain for now, because we're going to be tightening it. And because we're tightening it, the whole thing wants to spin. That's why we're gonna hold the wheel and somebody will tighten it to the torque spec. Okay, once you cleaned everything, I'm going to be using the red thread locker on the threads right here. I mean, I would use the blue one, but I don't have it right now. I don't have it with me, so I'm using the red. All right, and don't forget to put your washer first on, and then the nut will go on. All right, I put a little bit on top, and I'll be putting the nut on now. Alright, so we got our front engine sprocket installed and its torque spec. The torque spec for it is, I think it's 94 foot-pounds. I'll have to double check and I'll put it in the description. And when you tighten it, it's going to be wanting to spin, see it? So have someone hold the rear brake, and you can tighten it with the torque wrench to 94 foot-pounds. Or if you don't have nobody else, you can put the bike on the ground and tighten it in. And also don't forget to bend your safety washer back down.
Oh, because to tighten and stuff.
And the reason we left the old chain on for now is just because we wanted to tighten this part. Because without it, you'll have to then wrap the chain around and it's more work, but like this is quicker. But if you can't get the sprocket out, you can move this wheel forward. When you loosen it, we'll show it to you. You move it forward and you get more slack. Alright, now you gotta remove your chain. And to remove it, since I already changed my chain, I had a master link. But yours were probably gonna be riveted. So yours, you have to cut. You can grab a grinder and just cut this chain. But mine's, I had this clip. It's a master link and it just slides out. I already got it out and that's it. My chain should be off. Alright, so I was able to slide my old chain out and here it is. Alright, now I'm going to remove the rear. You have to remove the rear tire. And there's going to be a cotter pin. And you got to remove that cotter pin right there. Got to straighten it out and it should slide out once you make it more straight. Alright, and the size for the rear one is 32. And I'm using air gun. An air gun. Okay, go. Alright, once you remove that nut, there's going to be a washer here. And you're going to have a plate. Mine's a little bit different because I have a rear license plate holder. It's a swing arm license plate holder. But yours should be, it's similar. It's just like a plate. And you can pull this out. Alright, now, since we remove everything from this side, this thing you can slide out. See, it's sliding, but you got to be careful. Because you have a caliper here. It holds on the bracket. So right here you gotta be careful. I'm gonna slide this out. This will be easier with two hands. Alright, so I pulled this rod out, and here's your caliper. It was right here, and it slides out too. So you can just let it, it's not a lot of pressure on this, so it's pretty light. So you should be safe. And there's gonna be a spacer here, so just make sure this thing fell for me, but make sure there's a spacer here. And then there's a spacer on this side too, right here. There's a spacer. So if it does come off, make sure you watch where they come off at. Alright, now once the wheel's off, you can put the wheel down, but make sure you put it on a cardboard. And you're gonna remove these nuts. Okay, once all the nuts are removed, you can remove the sprocket. And the reason you can tell your sprocket's bad, it's if it's really pointy. You see how these are pointy? That means your sprocket's all done worn out. And I have broken teeth. You can see there's some of the broken teeth. Compared to my new one, and here's the new one. You can see how it's all like rounded. Okay, now we're gonna use some brake cleaner and clean everything here before we put a new sprocket on. And you can clean this too, but make sure you remember how it went. And we'll put some grease in here too before we reinstall it. Alright, so I cleaned everything with brake cleaner, even the inside. And I'll be using this grease. You don't have to use this grease, but I'll be using this one. Alright, we noticed on the studs there were some like they're not clean enough, so we're gonna clean them a little bit with a metal brush and a drill. Alright, now we're gonna be putting back these nuts, and it's a 15 size. I forgot to mention the size is 15. But since mine's already changed, and I already changed these nuts because when I was tightening my original ones, they stripped. So I went to Home Depot and I bought these, so it's a 15 millimeter for me, but for you, it's going to be a different size. It's going to be a 14. And I checked it on my bike, and yeah, it's a 14 millimeter for the size for the sprocket. So yeah, so if you do use your original nuts and you go tighten that torque spec is 33 foot-pounds, and if you tighten it and it's stripping, like it'll start spinning again. The threads of the nut got messed up, so I went to Home Depot and I bought different ones. Alright, so I put some red thread locker. I mean, if you have blue, you can use blue, but I use red because I don't have the blue one, and I use a little bit. And well, I'm about to start tightening the nuts. Okay, so we tighten them all in a star pattern. So like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. So all so it can be all equal. And we use the drill, but it's on a low setting. So now we're gonna torque them down to 33 foot-pounds. Now we're gonna tighten them to 33 foot-pounds. Same thing in a star pattern. It's that one. Okay, now you can just double check them all again one more time. Let's do it one more time. Make sure it clicks. Alright, now we can flip the wheel and we're gonna clean this other side. There's a little spacer right there. My brother's cleaning it. And we're gonna add some grease here too. All right, once you clean the other side really good, clean the little spacer. Let's put a spacer. Here's the little spacer. So it's gonna go here, but we're gonna grease everything up here before we put everything back. And clean that rod. Remember that rod we had? Clean that rod too. Okay, so we're ready to install the wheel. So once you have all your spacers on, we're gonna grab that rod. This is that rod, and make sure you grease it up too. You can see I greased it up. And we're gonna align the wheel and slide it in. And don't forget to put your bracket back on here before you slide this on. So it has to be like, this will be easier with 2 people. All right, so we're able to slide this in, but you have to like align this. You have to align your caliper bracket, your caliper, the brake pads. You have to align everything and slide this back in. Oh, and you gotta align your spacers too, because it's gonna keep falling off. So you need 2 people is easier, and we got a block of wood in the bottom to help us hold the wheel, so we can align it easier. But we did it, and we were able to put everything back how it is. Next, we're gonna start with the chain. All right, so on the left is my original chain, and on the right is the new chain. And you can see it is pretty stretched out. This is my original chain, and it is stretched. You can tell it's stretched. That's the reason I'm replacing it. Alright, so I was able to route the new chain around it, around the new sprocket, and around the front sprocket, the engine sprocket. And you can see it doesn't even meet up because it's too short. So yeah, we gotta loosen these. These are the 212s. So grab a wrench, two wrenches. You gotta loosen this one, and then this one we're gonna spin. We're gonna push the wheel that way. We gotta do the same thing on the other side. And here's the other side right here. Same thing. We'll loosen that one and start spinning this one in there, so the wheel can move forward, so the chain can get looser. And you can put the knob back on, but don't tighten it. And don't forget there's a washer here too. So just tighten it by hand, and that's it. You can leave it loose. So yeah, see, we'll loosen this one, and now this we're gonna be spinning it in, and then we can push this wheel forward, and it'll give us slack to put the master link on. Okay, you can see how we got this really close now. This is close, and the wheel's pushed forward. And it's same thing on this side. It's pushed forward. And now the chain, it's touching. Like you use 2 hands, you can able to touch this chain together now. And we'll be able to slide in the master link. So that's what I said in the beginning. If you do want to do this, if you want to tighten this one, you can always loosen this first and push the wheel forward, so you can slide the sprocket on. In the beginning when I told you that. Alright, so we're about to put the master link on. So you grab first you grab this, and you put the 2 rubber O-rings. And it came with grease, but if it didn't come with grease, make sure you put some grease on the O-rings. Alright, we're about to put the master link in. You put the 2 chains together, and you slide it in. Alright, we slide it in. See, it's all together. Now, make sure it's all good. Now you're gonna put the 2 O-rings on here. Same thing. And also make sure you grease the O-rings too. Those 2 O-rings that's gonna go in here, make sure you grease them up too. Alright, now we're gonna press the master link clip in. You can see my brother's doing it. Yeah, don't forget, once you put the chain on, or the master link, make sure you put this clip on first. There's this clip right here, and then you gotta put the tool on, which is ours is already on. Alright, so we tightened the master link. Let me get closer a little bit, and you can see that part is sticking out, so we can slide in the clip. So we're about to remove this tool. You can look it up how to use this tool. It's pretty simple. I'm not gonna show you how to actually use it, but it's pretty easy. You can actually do it without the tool, so you can YouTube how to use this without the tool too. Also, I have the heater running today. It's pretty cold. It's around 32 degrees. Alright, you can see we compressed it and we removed the tool, and now we have room to slide that clip in. And here's this clip right here. And it shows you on the box which way the clip goes. Alright, so the new clip is gonna go like this.
Wait.
Alright, so make sure you put this clip the right way. So your chain direction is that way, okay? But in the box it shows it in the bottom, on top. So make sure you show it on top. Get it? Because so if the chain rotates, the clip's gonna be like this. So you gotta put the clip like that. Get it? So make sure you put it the right way. Alright, so you see I put it on, and now we're about to push it with the pliers. Alright, you can see we got the link in right here. It's clipped in, so we took some pliers. Here are the pliers, and we put it against the link, and we'll be able to click in. And it's here. I can show you the box better right here. This is how it looks right here. Chain direction, and that's how the clip goes. That's what I was saying. They're showing on the box so the clip has to be like that. There we go. So the chain direction is that way, and the clip goes that way. So that's how it's supposed to be, like that. All right, now we're gonna tie in this chain. You can see how this chain is loose. It's hitting the swing arm. It's supposed to be like really tight, not too tight, but firm tight. And now we're gonna start spinning these back. So we gotta move the wheel back so we can tie in the chain. You can see if I move the wheel back, it tightens it. So we gotta move these back now. We gotta do both sides like that, and then we gotta match that mark with the swing arm, so your tire would be straight. Right, so we match the marks with. You can see the marks like this. On this side it's like this, and the other side you want to get it as close as possible. As close as possible you want to get it so your wheel will be straight. And then once that's done, you can see your chain slack, it got tight. See? Now this looks like it's a perfect chain slack. So if I check the manual, here's the manual. This is how you measure chain slack from bottom to bottom. That's your chain slack. And on these bikes it's supposed to be 1.2 through 1.6 inches. Alright, you can see it, we have it at 0. So when we push it up, it's about 1.2. So it's pretty good. This is pretty good. As long as it's not hitting that swing arm, this is perfect. This is perfect chain slack. Oh, and you find the center. So you find the center from here to here. So it's usually right here. That's your center to find the chain slack. Alright, once that's done, you gotta grab this nut and you gotta tighten this nut on both sides. So but you gotta hold this one and tighten this one. So you see how my brother, he's holding the right one and he's tightening the left one. Just snug, not too hard. Alright, so grab a screwdriver, okay? And put it between the sprocket and the chain. And you spin it and you see it gets really tight. That means now your tire's all the way against the stuff. So now you can tighten those two nuts, or the first nut. So you see I'm holding that tire with the screwdriver and my brother's tightening it so it can be nice and tight, so this can be straight.
What's next?
Alright, once that's tight, once both sides is tight, we're gonna start tightening this. So this will be 94 foot-pounds. Right here, the axle nut is 94 foot-pounds, the rear axle nut. And I'm still have a screwdriver between the sprocket and I'm still holding it, so I'm about to tighten this nut right here. Alright, now we're gonna be tightening it to 94 foot-pounds. Alright, and he's about to click. It should click at 94 foot-pounds. Alright, okay. Now you check you check if the cotter pin, you can slide the cotter pin in. If you can't get this cotter pin in yet, tighten it a little bit tighter.
Damn, that's perfect.
All right, so you can see my tool clicked, and I'll be able to slide the cotter pin through right there. So it's clicked perfect at 94 foot-pounds. All right, so we got a cotter pin through, and I removed that screwdriver that was here, and we can test the chain again. And we're testing it in neutral, so the wheel can spin freely. And since the chain is brand new, we don't have to look for no tight spots, so we know the chain should be all same. And you can see the chain barely hits the swing arm. That's how we want to have it. So that's the slack we need right here. This is how you usually measure it, like this too. All right, so you can double check everything. Double check, and then we can put this cover back on. All right, so we're about to put the covers back on. We already put the cover back on, and make sure you put that clip back on, and make sure you put your speed sensor back on. That's your speed sensor. Make sure you put the little nut here too. And after we're done, we're gonna lubricate the chain. I don't think you have to, but we will. So we're gonna spray some chain lube on it. Just when we're gonna spin the wheel, we're gonna spray it. Spray the chain, and then let it sit for about 15 minutes before you use the bike. Alright, yeah, and that's how you do the chain and the sprockets on the bikes on your 2007 ZX6R. And that's about it.